apostle helped us last week. We keep it going for a bit. As he talked about grace to finish. Somebody say grace to finish. He pulled 7 principles out of the book of Nehemiah. He talked about how Nehemiah had a vision. Somebody say vision. Nehemiah saw and wanted better for the people of Israel. Nehemiah had passion. Somebody say passion. Passion kept him going even when things get complicated. Somebody say passion. He said that Nehemiah had supporters. Somebody say supporters. He had the right set of people in his circle. He said that Nehemiah had a strategy. Somebody say strategy. He was careful who he shared his next move with. Somebody say strategy. He mentioned that Nehemiah had enemies. Tell your neighbors, I hope that ain't you on the side of me. Because the enemies were in his life to help develop his character. Somebody say enemies. Nehemiah had focus. Somebody say focus. He did not get distracted by those who came up against him. Somebody say focus. When you look at focus, you get what? Somebody say F. Say first thing first. What's the next letter? Other things next. What's the next letter? Say cut out that which is not important. What's the next letter? Say you. Say unmask yourself. Say stop pretending to be something that you're not. What's the next letter? S. Say stick with the plan. Stick with the vision. Stick with the thing that God would have embedded in your heart. Somebody say he was focused. And the last thing he talked about, he fought to finish. He stood his grounds and completed the assignment. And so if we are going to apply these principles, we will be able to finish everything we put our hands to by God's grace. Anybody want to finish? And so the scripture says that we can be confident of this very thing, that he that begun a good work in you is able to complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. And so Living Waters, look to the left and right, we have 7 main focus. The first one is prayer. Somebody say prayer. And then we have worship. The third, giving. The fourth, youth. Fifth, evangelism. And the sixth, empowerment. And the seventh is performance. Now, I can't see that time too good on the clock. Fix that where I know what I got. Somebody say, the preacher going to talk about today empowerment. And so I'm not randomly searching for some topic. Our focus is on the wall. And so we're going to talk about empowerment. Empowered to finish. Tell your neighbor, say, you're going to be empowered to finish. This ain't the message where you're going to spin around 3 times and everything going to be finished. No, no, no. You come on Tuesday for that. Not this week, the following week. Where you will be empowered, and then you might spin around 7 times and everything might be completed. Because the apostle not only prophesy, he teach and preach. He downloads that word on the inside of you. Say, Rev, stick with your notes because you got 39 minutes. Say, empowered to finish. Empowered means to give someone the authority or power to do something. Somebody say empower. It means to make somebody stronger and more confident. Now that's what I'm seeking to do today. Say you're going to leave out stronger. You're going to leave out wiser. You're going to leave out better. You will leave out more confident that you will be able to finish the assignment that God would have given you. In the book of Nehemiah 6, in our text, you will hear a story of a great leader by the name of Nehemiah. Nehemiah's name means comforted by God. Nehemiah was a Hebrew leader who supervised the rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem. How many persons that are in here today that hold the position of supervisor? Where I can know what kind of audience I get today. Let me see if we get some. Okay. Supervisors, let me see your hands. Where I can know who's the supervisor and who's the follower. Where I can know exactly who I'm talking to today. Where I can know who working me hard and I understand the reason why. Because when I go into the schools, I say it's 2 groups of people. You get the leader and you get the follower. And so, I ask the major question. I say, who all are the leaders in the school? You get a few lift their hands. Still ain't reading between the lines. I then explain to you, you got how much? You only got 2. And I asked, out of courtesy, and I was hoping that, the majority of individuals would lift their hands. And so a few lift their hands. I say, well, you don't have to lift your hands no more. I know exactly who I'm focusing on today. Because based on what we had in the room, we had less leaders and more followers. That means I know exactly how I was going to tailor-make the message to better instruct or teach our audience. But I'm going to do it again. How many supervisors we have inside the building? I ain't going to do you like that. This ain't no trick question. Let me know who's who. I got you. I got you. I here to help. What's our topic? This empowerment session. Empowered to finish. Because this is it. Being a supervisor, you are the model employee for the rest of the staff or the team. You carry a heavier responsibility because more is expected from you. And not some eyes, but all eyes are on you. And I have in the notes RBDF. What's that all about? One day Nehemiah heard, say he heard, that the walls surrounding Jerusalem lie in ruins. It was a disgrace to the Hebrews. And so Nehemiah, he lived in Persia. Somebody say Persia. But the problem wasn't in Persia. The problem was in Jerusalem. Nehemiah was the cupbearer for the king. The king wasn't lacking nothing. So what Nehemiah was lacking? Close your eye, what you see. So Nehemiah did not have any kind of problems. He was doing well where he was. But Nehemiah had a heart. Say, you feel that thing beating? That's there for a reason. Nehemiah had a heart. And he had an interest. And he had a burden for some people who were experiencing a tough time. Somebody say a tough time. Somebody say leader, supervisor. And so it's one thing to hear about problems, but it takes a different kind of person who does something about it. And so Apostle Wells is that kind of a leader. The father of the nation, the late Sir Lyndon Pinland, was that kind of Martin Luther King Jr. What did he do? He was that kind of a leader. Let's add 2 women in there. We look at Rosa Parks. We look at Mother Teresa. They were that kind of a leader. Say you in an empowerment session today. And then we had Mahatma Gandhi. He was that kind of a leader. So Nehemiah was that kind of a leader. And so whether you are a leader or supporter, you are called to make your impact in whatever place that God put you in. Be intentional about making your contribution in the lives of humanity. You are called to do something great in the earth. Somebody say great leaders. Great leaders empower others. So I'm going to help some people today. You mightn't be in here, but the person might be online, who might have a position, but you're not a leader. You are something, but you aren't a leader. You hold a title. People look to you for leadership, but you don't got nothing to give. Because you are something, but you ain't no leader. You have a title, but you are a poor representative of the organization or whatever part of the department. You might have known somebody and they put you to the top. You are something, but you don't have the characteristic of what it is to be a good leader. Tell you there about Pastor J talking to you today. So Paul empowered Timothy. Moses empowered Joshua. Elijah empowered Elisha. And then we go on to Jesus. He empowered the disciples. And then we have an Apostle Raymond Wells, who empowered Living Waters Kingdom Ministry. And so leaders empower others to succeed. That's what sets you aside. But we have some people that sit on the top and have that black crab mentality. And they will kill you to get to the top. But there is good success and there is bad success. Good success is helping others on your way to the top. But bad success is destroying people whilst you're on your way trying to get to the top. Because you're going to get there, But you ain't going to be there too long. And so I walk in an organization 2 years ago. I had a lady send me a message last week crying, getting ready to retire. Probably in 2 years. How many service she done give? What you got to do? How much years you got to put in that public service? 25, 30? Y'all help me out. 30? 2 years ago, she said, you was the best boss I ever had in my whole life. Elderly lady. And she ain't trying to brown nose. Because I rebuke her and fix her business on many occasions, so she ain't trying to sweeten me up. But she knew what I brought to the table. She done worked around so many different individuals. Got the title, but the character was not intact. Tell your neighbor, say, when you're on top, be fair and deal with people right. Because you don't know where life is going to take you. I'm sorry for you, Dr. today. I'm sorry for you. You must know what you're ducking church for. So Nehemiah empower the people. That's what Nehemiah did. That's what good leaders do. Empower people. He led the charge. You can see Pastor J is a different person, right? Y'all ain't gonna see that? Y'all can't hear that? Say that's exposure. That's what happens. So I don't know. I've been doing this next year. I'm going to make 30 years. You know, to be preaching for 30 years. My wife and I was having a conversation coming here. What was it, 8:45? I said, this about around this time, I would have already catch a flight probably to one of the family islands. At 8:45, they would be introducing me to speak. Then I go someplace else and speak at 7 p.m. Then catch a flight in the morning. And then be to work for 9 a.m. Say 30 years of rendering my service as unto the Lord. And so you have church folks would like entertainment. But I ain't sure. I call for the entertainment business. Because I believe that my life has been set aside for God to be impactful into the lives of individuals. I have to preserve my energy and strength, not for entertainment, because lives are at stake. 97 murders in the country. And so the burden gets to me sometimes. I be thinking I could be on a park service in these communities in the morning. So I'm not just talking about the problem. If you're a part of the solution, then what are you? Because the nation is at stake. We have major problems in this country. Say, stick with your notes, Rev. Boy. Because what I really going to say, I can say it. I might as well say it. It ain't make no sense. Because, boy, I don't know. Just 30 years, say 30 years. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Say, church. Oh, Jesus. 30 years around the church. Only the good God in heaven. Say, the good God in heaven. Let me see if I could word it right. The good God in heaven would have me doing what I'm doing. Only the good Lord in heaven will keep me around the church when the apostle put up his Baptist finger and say, may the Lord watch between me and you. I wonder if you all really understand what I'm saying today. And so years ago, the Lord showed me before Apostle started this work, 26 years ago. I had a dream, and I saw him in this auditorium, the same convention center. I saw him in a dream, and I was lost. And he connected me. He showed me him. And he said, go find him. I was in another church. He said, go find him. Because although I was going to church, I still was lost. So he said, go find him. And he said, I want you to serve him until he reached to the top. What do you want me to do? Not compete with him. To serve him on his way to the top. If you serve somebody from the bottom, on your way to the top, at the end of the day, where you end up? So God had a plan from the foundation on the plans that he had set for both him and I. And so I don't get mixed up. Say he's the chief shepherd around here. When he show up, I sit small. Say meow, meow, I'm like a cat. Now, I've been around him for 29 years. And I'm not familiar with him. Because I still have to glean from him. I still have to be able to receive the wisdom that falls from him. I still have to support him wholeheartedly. And do not allow familiarity to set in. That's why I honor him as my father. That's why I speak grieved with some individuals when I see you all trying to handle them any kind of way. Say, Pastor Jay, stick with the message. So it's in Nehemiah. Somebody say Nehemiah, and 22 minutes to go. Now it happened when Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem, and the Arab and the rest of our enemies heard. What they did? They heard that I had rebuilt the wall and there were no breaks left in it. Though at that time I had not hung the doors in the gates. Apostle helped the body of Christ through one of his teaching on infiltrating the system. Anybody remember that series? He talked about us gaining access into the system. He said that if we are going to make real impact, we have to get around the tables where decisions are being made. He talked about the 7 mountains of influence, which are religion, family, education, business, government, media, art, and entertainment. Tell your neighbor, say, stay awake. Well, he's around the table where decisions are being made at RBDF as their chaplain. We pointed out today our business owners who are in here. Let me see your hand. Not the supervisors. We want the business owners today. So we get the business owners that are here. How about our teachers? Let me see you. Our CFOs. Let me see you. Department of heads. Let me see you. I see the one half mask like that. NGOs, let me see you. Mr. Smith, that's you? The police force. We have the police here. We have the defense force here. We have immigration here. Concerned citizens, let me see you. Oh, you think God's going to leave you out? What a time. I tell you, I've been doing this thing for how long? Nation builders, let me see you. See, you only got, see. We have concerned citizens, but nation builders are the ones who do something. So we have plenty of people that are concerned, but what are you doing with your concern? Sitting down and calling the talk show is one thing. Rolling up your sleeve and doing something is a difference. What is your contribution to make this country a better place? We have an MP inside here today. Write my notes. Say absent. We have more than enough people in here that can bring about the kind of change what we need in this nation, right in this church. Not outside, right in here. When Jesus empowered the disciples, it was 12 individuals that went into the world, and the Bible said these 12 turned the whole world upside down. They were impactful in what they went to do. So it's not all about crowds. And I ain't going to talk with no gang. And so I'm around the table, 18 minutes. I'm around the table as the superintendent at the Simpson Penn Center for Boys. And before I became the superintendent there, for 27 years, I had the privilege of rendering my service at no cost to that center, mentoring our young people to make better decisions. Listen very carefully. The Honorable Miles LaRota has supported my efforts 100% thus far, say thus far, as well as the permanent secretary, Mrs. Phaedra Raming Turnquest, ensuring the condition at the facility is conducive for our future generation of doctors, lawyers, police and defense force officers, business owners, you all sound weak, barbers, contractors, preachers, politicians. And so the Simpson Pen will not be a revolving door for criminals. But these young people will be rehabilitated, transformed, and become productive citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas under my leadership and the hard-working staff at the center. Now, whatever they do after I leave, that on them. We are talking about empowered to finish. We ain't just starting things. Apostles say God has graced us to finish it. We have some people good at starting, but they have no finish in them. Now, years ago, I was a contractor, painting contractor. And my responsibility was what you see inside here, the painting inside this building. Now, this was years. And the work that was done way back when, still standing, meaning quality of work. Tell your neighbor, ain't no sloppy business. And so you have to be a finisher. You're not starting and dropping out. Whatever you put your hands to, God gonna grace you to finish it. Some people chewing gum, clacking, looking left and right. Oh, Jesus. Say, help the ref today. Say empowered to finish. So, Sambalat and Gusham sent to me, say, we have to preach now. He says, come, let us meet together among the village in the plain of Ono. He said, but they thought to do me harm. Lesson number one. We're going to make our way now. Say lesson number one. Discern which opportunities to take. Because not every opportunity is for you. So they said, come. Let's meet. Nehemiah said, I ain't got nothing to meet with you all about. So Nehemiah did not show up to the meeting to inquire if they meant him well. He discerned that and didn't even move. Tell your neighbor, say you need discernment in this season. The discernment is the ability to choose between what is true and right and what is false and wrong. So Nehemiah did not even respond nor move. Don't let people get you out of place. You know what you're doing is a good thing. You know you're on your way to complete or fulfill or accomplish your dreams and aspiration. And you're going to allow somebody to pull up on you with this new plan? What do you think that's all about? That's a distraction to get you off course. I was going to call up one of your officers and let you all take us around the world because I was going to ask you with some direction. But I ain't going to do that to you all today. So it's in the book of Chronicles 12:1 and 32. It says that these persons who David's supporters, these were David's supporters in Ziklag. These are the ones who came to David at Ziklag while he still concealed himself from Saul, the son of Kish. They were among the courageous men who helped him in battle, these David people. It says that one of the tribe of Issachar, men who understand the times with knowledge of what Israel should do, 200 of them. So these were individuals who David used because their discernment was sharp. So there were times when he had to go to battle. He only asked them, what do you think I should do? And so when you have this ability of discernment, it will be more progress and less fighting. God will give you skills. God will give you strategy on what to do, how to do, and who to meet along the way. Tell your neighbor, say, strong discernment. Create your own opportunities. Somebody say, create your own opportunities. That almost sounds like a sin. Create your own opportunity. Every time you hear your own, it sounds selfish. But if you don't create some opportunities for yourself, who's going to do it? Tell your neighbor, say, empowered to finish. Now it was that David heard, and he sees the opportunity. This is in 1 Samuel 17:25. It says, so the men of Israel said, have you seen this man who has come up surely? He has come up to defy Israel. And it shall be that the man who does what? That the man who kills him, the king will enrich with great riches and will give him his daughter and give his father's house exemption from tax in Israel. What did David do? David did what? He heard this conversation. And so 3 ways to create your own opportunities. So if you don't take no notes, get these 3 where you can leave with something today. When promotion exercises are launched at your place of employment, be prepared. David heard. You hear courses and certification courses going on. But you busy going to lunch with the person who at least put 3 ranks or 4 ranks ahead of you. You wasting time with people who done far gone, but you still behind. Look at the person on the side of you. If that person could help you, they could help you a long time ago. Cut them loose and advance your life. Not get prepared. Be prepared. When you hear that an opportunity is available, take the challenge and rise to the occasion. The next one, if you're going to create your own opportunities, say self-development. Work on the person on the side of you. Did the preacher say self-development? Work on who? Work on the person on the side of you. Work on what you think the government should do. Work on yourself. David took care of his father's sheep. Now, I just going to say, Jay, you go on for a long time. You look like you trying to lead people out here. David took care of his father's sheep. Did he do it? When David was taking care of his father's sheep, because it sounds simple, and so little is much with God in it. He says, if you're faithful with a little thing, that's what I do as the superintendent. I give them small things to do and see how sloppy they're going to do it. So I be trying to see if you're an eye serving or what. When you see me in the yard, you standing up and doing all them different, okay. That means you ain't just a brown noser. You's an eye pleaser too. But what gonna happen with the brown noser and the eye pleaser is when some crazy person puts you in charge and you get all them people under your remit and you don't know what to do. What you gonna do then, P.O.? Looking wrong? No, you in charge. You like point out, if I was the boss and I was the boss, what I think they should do, no, you in charge now. You in charge. All of a sudden now your chest getting tight. You got to go to sick bay. No, you in charge. You in charge. Handle yourself. Tell your neighbor, say it on you now. Says your time. What you got? Are you prepared? Say self-development. Work on your neighbor. Put that in your notes. Work on your neighbor. You know exactly what I'm telling you. You work on everybody but you. So whilst David was mastering his skill set, he learned the art of managing because nobody was there to tell him what to do. So he had to figure it out. He learned managerial skills whilst handling the sheep. There's a bear and a lion that showed up. So he learned what it is, well, what a time, to protect. Then he had to provide for the sheep. And so we learned all of these different skill sets, setting him up as he involved as a leader. He eventually grew or developed into the ultimate leader whilst he served and mastered his skill set. The third thing, understudy the position you so desire. Say understudy. Saying to you, humble yourself and serve. That's what you do. David served King Saul. You could give me something, Jay. Let's get out of here. David served King Saul, his mentor. Even though his mentor got nasty and wanted to kill him. Eventually, the position David understudied became a reality. David became the king. But it didn't start with him on top. He prepared himself. Then he worked on his skill set. He understudied the position. And when the opportunity arose, he was able to merge from the ashes. And he was able to rest on the top. So the question is, what are you becoming? Do you see the finished product? What are you working on? What are you coming into? You start off as a caterpillar, and 10 years later, you still right there, getting around. At this time, you should at least be in the cocoon. And it's in the cocoon what could look confusing sometimes. Because the cocoon is upside down. And so people look at your life whilst you're in this cocoon because there's no movement like the caterpillar. So they can analyze your progress as a caterpillar, and they like to see you there because you're down low and you're on the ground. So they ain't intimidated of you whilst you're down there. But when you come into this cocoon, and they don't hang low, they hang high. But the challenge is they're upside down. And so life could be upside down for you at this junction. But you're not there forever. After a while, you're going to grow strength. You're going to develop. And eventually, you're going to burst out into a flourishing butterfly. Tell your neighbor, I'm empowered to finish. So what are you becoming, Mr. and Mrs. CEO? CFO, you're dreaming about it. Your manager position, what you're looking at. Supervisor. Come on, Mr. Chairman. What you gonna do, Mr. President? What are you becoming? What are you waiting on? What are you looking at? Tell your neighbor, say, I'm empowered. The thing that I start, I ain't like that response. Tell your neighbor, say, I'm empowered. The thing that I start, I pray that God give me the grace to get back in the fight and finish. So Nehemiah and Sanballat and the Amorite officials heard what they heard, that a man had come to seek the well-being of the people. Now this was disappointing in the scripture. Somebody came to do something for the people that were oppressed. Unfortunate. The least among us. And the people had a problem with it. What kind of sensible individuals would fight against a cause such as this? That a man had come to seek the well-being of people. Who gets upset with something like that? And so Apostle Wells is not pushing his personal agenda, but to build a youth and community center for the next generation, to empower our youth for the honor and glory of God. The last time I checked, our murder count was 97. And this center can be used to host programs that will benefit our young people. This place can be a safe haven. When this crew of individuals heard that the vision was launched, these folks start plotting from the get-go. And once you are alive, please note, there will always be opposition. Vision always get the attention of two groups of people, haters and supporters. The vision attracted supporters as well as enemies. The enemies will not come up against you when you're not making any progress. But the minute you begin to make steady progress, they will come out of the woodworks for you. But in the midst of this, don't panic, because when God wants to bless you, He sends the right people in your life who will not be jealous or envious towards you, but only wants the best for you. And I feel so comfortable around Apostle because he cheer me on as I do what I do. I don't sense no funny business. He want me to succeed. He wants you, Living Waters, to succeed. And that's a good thing that comes from your senior pastor. God will allow you to come in contact with an Apostle Raymond Wells and Pastor Olivia Wells. God will allow you to cross paths and connect you with individuals who can recognize and help develop that gift, that talent that is on the inside of you. But it doesn't end there. When the devil wants to destroy you, he will send that person who's sitting on the side of you, talking in your ears, whilst the preacher trying to talk sense to you. Tell that person on the side of you, say, keep that thought, tell church out. Say, you see your rank? You see mine? I trying to get to the top. Keep that thought, tell church out. When the devil wants to destroy you, he will send the wrong people in your life. But your responsibility is to discern who is who. These officials who wanted to stop Nehemiah, they were powerful people who held major positions. The Bible said that these powerful people were deeply disturbed that a man had come to seek the well-being of the people of Israel. You get power, you get influence, and you still trying to stop somebody that is trying to do something for the less fortunate among us. You gotta have a different kind of devil in you. And so our apostle is all about the well-being of God's people, with a vision from God to advance the kingdom of God in the earth. Nehemiah was the visionary. He stood in the midst of adversity. Nehemiah 6:3. So Nehemiah sent messengers to them saying, I am doing a great work so that I cannot come down. Don't allow people to bring you down to their immature behavior and small talk. Say, I ain't there no more. The mere fact they come with you with that small talk, that's where they think you at. Say, that's what you bring to me. Lesson 2 as we go. When you know you're doing a great work and you recognize the people that don't mean you well, disassociate yourself from their negative energy. Lesson 3, don't give your ear to gossipers because they have hidden agendas. The question I'm normally asked, Do you still go to Living Waters after 26? This is when they say, do you still go to Living Waters? Are you still with Apostle Raymond Wells? Tell your neighbors, say, stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution. Y'all can get it on your way home. Then some ballad sent servants to me, the 5th time with an open letter in their hands. It was written and reported amongst the nation that Gershom say that you and the Jews plan to rebel. And according to these rumors, you will be building the wall that you may be their king. Now, how they bring rumors about people. So just how they bring these rumors, that's just how they're going to start them with you as well. Verse 7, it says, and you also are appointed prophets to proclaim concerning you at Jerusalem, saying that there is a king in Judah. Now these matters will be reported to the king. So come, therefore, and let us consult together. Consult means to talk things over. There are some conversations you need not to entertain. Don't allow these negative people to get into your ear, to get into your spirit. Say, Pastor Joy trying to save my life. Lesson 4, Nehemiah refused to be distracted by dream killers who wanted things to remain the same. Then I sent him saying, no such things as you say are being done, but you invent them in your heart. Be careful of people who fabricate, make up fake news in order to assassinate your character. 9, for they all were trying to make us afraid, saying, their hands will be weakened in the work, and it will not be done. Some people ain't cheering for you. Then I perceived that God had not sent. Then I designed that God didn't send these people from the break, but had he pronounced this prophecy against me, meaning people hired him to try to get me from finishing the assignment or the work that God placed on my life. Jay, you better do something else before you put me sleep. Shako bandana baha. Tell your neighbor, say, let's close. 5, and this is it. 5, don't allow people to manipulate nor intimidate you when God placed something on the inside of you. You have to remember that the same God who stood with Nehemiah is the same God who's going to stand by you in order for you to finish strong. Verse 15. So the wall was finished on which day? So the wall was completed on the 25th day. And some of you are getting ready to celebrate the best December 25th in your life. If you apply these principles in your life, create some opportunities. Be prepared when the opportunity presents itself. Work not on your neighbor, but work on you. And when the time is right, God will allow you to emerge from the bottom to the top, and nobody can do nothing about it.